Hello guys, and welcome to part 2 of my Alonso career mode, where we will be competing in Malaysia this time, and hopefully we can continue our good run of form from the opening race in Australia, where we finished in second place overall.
Race, how do you think this season will compare to previous years?
Well, I hope that we're in for a fantastic season. The Mercedes team have certainly come out of pre-season testing the strongest top.
One of the biggest and most talked about changes for this season is the introduction of double points in the season finale in Abu Dhabi.
Well, after seeing Sebastian Vettel dominate the sport over the previous 4 years, I think they wanted to do something to ensure the final races still had something to play for.
And of course, just like last time, we will immediately retire from qualifying to take our rightful place at the back of the grid.
Fine. If he stays out of trouble and the car continues to perform, well, victory should surely be a formality.
He's definitely going to be difficult to beat today, but anything can happen, so we'll have to keep a close eye on how this unfolds over the course of the race.
The Williams team will be quietly confident that they can find a way to get Valtteri Bottas to his first race win today. The car's been performing really well this weekend.
Valtteri really is shaping up to be a star of Formula One for a long time to come. His first race win will be a magical moment when it happens, but will it be today?
Well, we'll just have to wait and see, won't we, Mr. Davidson? But anyway, here we are on the grid, and in terms of strategy, the team do want us to start on the option tyres, and indeed that is what we're going to do. So, here we are for the start of the race, 5 lights, and away we don't go. Of course, we're going to wait 10 seconds, and then we will head off ourselves and give chase to the 21 other drivers in this race. And away we go now finally, and it looks as though our first target will be Kobayashi, followed by Sutil. And now we're coming to the end of the first lap of the Grand Prix. How much have we made up on Kobayashi? Well, it looks as though we've made over 8 seconds up on him, and after going for the first 3 turns of this lap, we were already on the back of the Caterham and going past him, up into P21 now, and immediately we've got the other Caterham of Marcus Ericsson in front of us for P20. We're going to try and go around the outside, and indeed we do succeed, and now we've got Lord Sutil just ahead of us, but immediately we dispatch him as well, so up to P19 then. And a little later on the same lap, we've now begun to attack Gutierrez at P18, and it looks like we're going to make the move stick. Yes, we are. So now we've got the best British driver in the race, Max Chilton, in the Marussia Ferrari. We're going to try and attack him now in the right hander for P17, the penultimate corner, and it looks as though we have made the move stick. So now we're after Jules Bianchi in the other Marussia. Are we going to get him in the braking zone in the last corner? We've put up the inside, and yes, Bianchi doesn't fight us too much, and up into P16 we go. So now we've got the 2 Lotus Renaults up next, and Pastor Maldonado will be the first of those 2 victims. Will he? Yes, we get past him before the braking zone into turn 1, and now we're right on the back of Romain Grosjean for P14. And looks like we get a much better exit, do we? Nope, not quite. But I'm sure we've got a better engine compared to Lotus. That Renault engine's just a pile of shit. And indeed, we do go past Grosjean now for P14 at the start of lap 3. And at the end of lap 3, we've now caught up to the back of the 2 Toro Rossos, with the 2 Force Indias, I think, just further up ahead. Anyway, for the time being, we will focus on getting past Mr. Verne in the Toro Rosso, who's got DRS on his teammate, but we don't give him any space. He has nowhere to go, so he has to sit behind his Toro Rosso teammate, but then we run wide ourselves, and that gives Kvyat the chance to come back at us, but he doesn't manage it, so up to P12 we go. And now we're attacking the 2 Force Indias. Mr. Sergio Perez has immediately been gobbled up by the mighty Ferrari of Fernando Alonso, and up into P11 we go now. And we're immediately attacking Hulkenberg for P10. This is to go up into the point after only about 3.5 laps, I think. And we do succeed, so P10. And up next is our underperforming teammate, Kimi Raikkonen. And just under a lap later, I should say, we have now caught up to the back of him, and we immediately go past him up into P9, and now we've got the two McLaren Mercedes ahead of us, with Kevin Magnussen in P8 and Jenson Button in P7. And at the penultimate corner, we do make the move stick on Mr. Magnussen, so up to P8 we go. 4 points at the moment. But I don't think we want to settle for just a measly 4 points. We want more than that. We want to go for the podium again. But anyway, before that, we should go for P7 of course, which we do right now. Jenson Button, no contest at all. He is no match for the might of Ferrari and Fernando Alonso. And I think actually our teammates just got half spun. Either the McLaren didn't give him any room, or we just ran into the McLaren. Anyway, we've got a replay here now of the incident. See, can we tell what happens here? Well, difficult to tell from that angle, but unfortunately, you know what the FOM are like. They never want us to give us an onboard shot of these kind of incidents. Bloody idiots. But anyway, on to the end of lap 6 now, on to lap 7, and we do have a couple of drivers coming in for their first stops, and I believe one of them was Hamilton. An early stop from the Mercedes driver, and now come to the end of lap 8, both Ricciardo and Massa I think are going to go into the pits. Yes, they do. And as we run wide, we get the DRS off both of them as well, so up to P3 or P2 maybe momentarily. And then at the end of lap 9, we come in for our first stop then, just behind Mr. Sebastian Vettel. So are we going to be, I don't think we're going to be able to beat Vettel out of the pits, unfortunately. Codemasters don't like to, you know, give us an opportunity, but it doesn't matter. We'll get Vettel, I'm sure, later on. So we're coming up the pits now in P5, I think. Yeah, quite comfortable P5. And as I'm talking about Vettel, you know, a little later on, we immediately catch up to him, and it looks as though we are going to go straight up to P4. No real fight on Vettel there. You know, clearly not as talented as Alonso. And now coming out of the last corner and about to begin lap 12, we're right on the back of Valtteri Bottas now. This is for the podium place that we targeted before the start, and we're going to go straight through, are we? Yeah, Bottas, he knows he can't fight off someone like Alonso, and he just gives up the place immediately. And now, at the end of lap 12, we do set a new fastest lap, I think. But, you know, we do have a bit of a gap towards the Mercedes. It was 6 seconds, I think, before the start of that lap. But then 1 lap later, I think we've caught them up by almost a second. So, Alonso is certainly on the charge right now. And I think Lewis Hamilton didn't make his pit stop earlier on, didn't mention it, as does Rosberg just now. So back up to P1 we go. Back up to P1. That's the first time we've been leading, I think, this whole series. So great stuff from Alonso. And yeah, Marcus Ericsson, the little shithead, decides to try and make things difficult for Alonso, because he knows he's not as good as the Spanish maestro. And now we're coming up to lap Mr. Sutil, and in trying to do so, we actually ran wide there, and we have lost ground to the mighty Sauber Ferrari. But we will try again, and Sutil actually goes defensive there. What the hell are you doing, you great big idiot? But in the end, we do get past him without any major issues. And then at the end of that lap, we come in for our second stop to put on a set of prime tyres. And we come out in P3, comfortably ahead of Bottas. So now we can go after the two Mercedes.
Light rain could arrive within 5 minutes' time.
So with rain on the way, that could potentially make an already interesting race even more interesting, but unfortunately, in the meantime, before we can worry about that, we got to manoeuvre our way through a pair of bloody Caterhams. But thankfully we did do that for once without any trouble, so you know, on we go. And I think Rosberg did pit at the end of this lap, so we do take P1. And now skipping to lap 24, and as you can see, it has now started to rain. At this point, it's, you know, the track had already got wet pretty quickly actually, so at the end of this lap we do decide to come in for a set of intermediates, overtaking Kvyat in the process. You know, we're in no mood to hang about here. And in we come for our set of intermediate tyres. Now I do believe that most of the field are already pitted for a set of inters, so they got 1 lap of experience on them, but despite that, I don't think, actually I know that Hamilton and Rosberg were both nearly 20 seconds behind us after we came out, so very comfortable lead for us. But the rain did actually continue to get heavier as the race went on, and so if you can tell from the race map, a lot of drivers actually decided to come in on or stop on the last lap to switch to the full wet tyres. But with such a good lead and the fact that the intermediate still felt okay, I felt there was no point in pitting. So coming out to the last corner now, in only the second race of the series, we are going to take our first win with Fernando Alonso in the Ferrari. An absolutely fantastic performance from the Spanish driver. Confirmation of the result, Fernando Alonso did indeed win the race, and in the end he won by 42 seconds from Lewis Hamilton and 51 seconds from Mr. Rosberg, so a huge gap in the end, and that is very satisfying. And I think we're going to have a quick look at the drivers' table before we go, and we are tied on points now with Hamilton at the top of the table, and yeah, Marcus Ericsson propping up the rear there where he deserves to be. And in the constructors table, I believe that Mercedes obviously still leading, but we have now jumped up to second place. But anyway, that's it for this video. Thank you everyone for watching, and hopefully I will see you for Bahrain.